I think pretty much since the inception of this channel, I've harped on about the old Korean-made Epiphones. Oh God, not this again. You goddamn right this again, because I gotta tell you guys, I found a guitar that is a holy grail acquisition. Something that if I ever saw it and was able to get it, it was gonna be mine like that. Now, if you're a fan of this channel, you no doubt know where I'm going with this, because I've shown this guitar on this channel before on my Wednesday live stream. In case you don't know about it, me and my buddy Sean over at Sean Plays Guitar, we stream every Wednesday with our show Only Frets, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to tune into that, maybe you can get a little bit of a head start on some of these videos. Anyway, shameless plug aside, I want to talk to you guys about this absolutely stunning guitar, one that I truly believe is a holy grail find for me. It's something that I've always said once I figured out that it existed was something that I wanted. And if I ever had the opportunity to get it, I was going to get it. And that time, ladies and gentlemen, has finally come. So what is this absolutely mystic guitar that I'm talking about? Well, at the top of the video, I talked about Korean-made Epiphones. So if you were expecting something like a Gibson custom shop or some kind of crazy PRS or something stupid like that, well, you're in for a surprise. Oh, hey, don't mind me. I was just coming to get a drink here. There it is. A delicious blackberry Dr. Pepper. Can you believe people don't like these? They say they taste like cough syrup. I don't really see it, but they're delicious. You should try one. Yeah. Oh, the guitar, yeah. I just wanted to stop by and say before I show it to you, just make sure you're subscribed, man. A lot of people don't subscribe to the channel. They watch it, but don't subscribe. And that makes me sad. Also, check the links in the description if you want to help support the channel in any other way besides just subscribing. Hit that bell notification and the like button. All that good stuff. But anyway, I'll get out your hair. I got a Dr. Pepper to drink while I edit this video. But just go ahead and do that. Anyway, here's the guitar. Man, that shit's good. Oh yeah, we are trying something different today. New chair, don't care. Bar stool, you rule. Anyway, I'm not a poet. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that little intro there. Trying some new things, experimenting a little bit, new view, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, you're here to talk about this guitar with me. So what is this? This is an absolutely beautiful example of some of that fine Korean Epiphone craftsmanship. This is an Epiphone, it's a 2006 Epiphone 57 reissue Les Paul Jr. in one of my absolutely favorite colors, TV yellow. So why is it called TV yellow? Some of you have probably heard this story a million times, but in case you haven't, here's a really brief synopsis. So back in the day of black and white television, whenever guitar players would bring a white guitar to play on TV, the lights and everything from the studio would blare on it and it would essentially blow it out on camera, so it would just look like a giant blob of light or white, right? So Gibson developed the color TV yellow, which is actually like a mustardy looking kind of darkish yellow, like a deep yellow kind of feel. Something akin to this. They do have different flavors of TV yellow. There are some variances with some models, but essentially this is what you're going to expect when you see TV yellow. Now, me personally, I've always been a fan of a couple of different things that this guitar has. First and foremost, the color. I love TV yellow. I don't know who doesn't like TV yellow. It just looks absolutely amazing. Secondly, like I mentioned before, it's made in Korea. I have a soft spot in my heart for these older made in Korea Epiphones. They are just top-notch quality. They are some of the best Epiphones I've ever played, and I love them. I actively hunt for these things all the time. Not these, but just Korean-made Epiphones in general. I've actually got a couple of them that, you know, obviously are just as good as this one. And the other thing this one has that I love about it is that it is actually limited edition. So if you look on the back of the headstock here, it will tell you, you know, the limited edition custom shop, blah, 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 blah. First and foremost, Epiphone does not have a custom shop. I don't know why they put custom shop on there. And secondly, they put that limited edition seal sticker, it's not a sticker, but that marking on a lot of these guitars when they're actually not limited edition. And that's something that a lot of people will call out and say, you know, hey, they made that for years and years and years. It's not limited edition. And yes, I agree. These, I do believe, were a limited edition thing because they do not make these anymore, except for the inspired by Gibson, but they don't make them in TV yellow. They don't make them, I believe they came in a cherry color. I believe they came in a bunch of different colors, if memory serves correctly. And the only one that they have now are the Billy Joe Armstrong signature one, which, you know, it's a signature, so it's got his signature on it, which not a lot of people like, but it's white, which looks cool on its own. And then they have the vintage sunburst kind of feel going on, which looks cool in its own right, but it's not a Korean-made TV yellow Junior. And the last little bit that sells me on these is the fact that it is a Les Paul Jr. I love single pickup guitars. I love single P90 guitars, notably again the Les Paul and SG Jr. That's why I have one of each, and that's why I tout on them so much. There's just something so special about something like this. You feel limited, but you're really not. If you learn how to tame this beast, because this is a beast of a guitar, then you can get a lot of different sounds out of it, and it kind of forces you to learn to use the volume and tone knobs, because generally speaking, a lot of guitar players are everything on 10, you plug it straight in, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can get a great sound that way. But with something like this, where you don't have a neck pickup, you don't have a three-way switch, you don't even have that middle position to get both pickups, it forces you to learn how to use your volume and tone, which I think is a humbling experience for a lot of people. But I digress. So this guitar is absolutely fantastic. Again, it's a 57 reissue. You can find one of these. They do pop up every so often, but very, very rarely. This is the first one that I've seen come up in quite some time. But it is what you would expect out of a Junior. And really, I think this is probably the closest thing to a Gibson that I've played from Epiphone thus far. I don't know if I've said that before, but I'm saying it now. This one really is just that close. So it is a slab body, as traditional Les Paul Juniors are. You do have the 1P90, as I mentioned here before. A little caveat with this, because I've seen some reports say that this is actually a P100, which would insinuate that it is silenced, that there is no hum that you get out of a traditional P90, but various tests on my end have shown that this is truly a P90. So I think that could be if these were made in China, because apparently they did make these in China for just a little bit, maybe in that transitional period from Korea to China. I don't know, I've not done that much research, but from what I can tell, I think that that is the case. Lightning bar wraparound tailpiece here, it is intonatable via these screws in the back. I do like these lightning bar tailpieces, they are really, really cool. One volume and one tone, but these are kind of unique because they're like these skinny top hat knobs here with a V and a T on top in case you didn't know which one was volume and tone. I've always liked the Junior pick guard. I'm a pick guard person, I like pick guards on my guitars. Coming up to the neck here, it is a rosewood fingerboard with dot inlay, standard Gibson scale length, all that kind of stuff. One thing that is interesting about it, this is a 57 reissue, but the neck does not feel very 57. I would think that because the 58s are notorious for being like huge baseball bat necks, that the 57 would probably be in the realm of that. But this really feels like a Gibson. I mean, it truly, truly does, because if you call it a slim taper, an Epiphone slim taper at that, sometimes those have those weird shoulders on them that I don't really care for, and you may like them, you may not notice them, you may not know what I'm talking about. This one's perfect. Perfectly round, feels great, great in the hand, not super chunky. It actually sits very much in the middle. So it's not very thin, but it's not very chunky. Super duper comfortable. The fretwork, immaculate. Frets on this one I have polished because I have changed the strings on it, but they really didn't need it. I literally just hit them with a little bit of steel wool. Absolutely fantastic. It looks like it's a bone nut or a tusk nut of some sort. It even feels like it, but it is, for its age, cut very well. This is a 2006, and I'm filming this in 2025, so that should say a lot there. 57 reissue on the truss rod cover, which looks really cool and fancy and nice. Up here at the top, it's got my favorite Epiphone style logo on there. I like to call it the curly Q logo, despite the fact there is no Q in the word Epiphone, but it's like their original logo. I tend to prefer that instead of the one that tries to mimic the Gibson logo, but as time's gone on, you see people just say, make it look like a Gibson. Epiphone's its own thing. I think it should be its own thing, and I love that logo. I love the headstock too. The clipped ear headstock, mwah, beautiful, absolutely love it. Les Paul Jr. right here on the front. On the back here, you can see that the serial number starts with a U followed by a 06, insinuating that it was made in Korea in 2006, and it comes It comes stock with Grover tuners. They're not locking or anything. This is probably the one qualm that I have about this, because I would have really, really liked this to have maybe the tulip style tuners or those little tiny white kind of tuners on it. Something kind of like what's on the back of my Gibson 61, or something kind of like what's on the back of my Youngblood SG Junior. But obviously, these are great. I just think that the look could look a little more 57 vintage, something like that. Now keep in mind with this part of the video that your mileage can vary. This is gonna be a used guitar at this point. You're not gonna be able to find a 2006 Korean-made Epiphone brand new, unless you are extremely lucky and someone had one in the back of their guitar store that they just never sold. You're generally gonna have a similar experience to what I have. I did buy this used, obviously, and I gotta tell you that the setup was immaculate. It was absolutely, I had to make zero adjustments. Again, I've changed the strings on this and just kind of put my preferred feel of string on there and everything before I recorded that demo that you heard at the beginning and all that kind of stuff. And I literally slapped some new strings on it. It was done. I did not have to make an adjustment at the bridge. The intonation is on point. The neck is like, I don't know if it's straight or has that hump in it. No, it's like dead straight. And there are no fret outs. there's no buzz, there are no high frets. I mean, I cannot gush on more about how these guitars are just so well made. They really, really are. Now, again, am I saying that they're all gonna be perfect? No, you could have a stinker. You could be sitting here saying, well, why is yours so great and why does mine have a high fret? It happens. It could have been made at the end of the day on Friday or the beginning of the day on a Monday. You never know. So yeah, this is something that I just wanted to jump on here and talk about because I don't actually see a lot of videos talking about these guitars in particular. The Epiphone 57 reissues, specifically in my case, made in Korea. I do believe they made them in China at one point, but obviously I prefer the Korean Epiphones a lot better. They're just everything that I could have ever asked for in a style of guitar like this. This is my Junior. This is my Les Paul Junior. That is. This is an absolutely fantastic instrument, and I highly encourage you, if you're looking for something a little bit different, or if you're looking to get into a Junior and you don't want to spend those vintagey prices or just overpay for something that's kind of simple, take a look at the 57 reissues. Now again, they are pretty hard to find. I'm not going to say that they're impossible to find. I'm not going to say that there aren't some listed out there, but for whatever reason, I think people may hold on to them because they are just great. That, or they didn't make a whole lot of them. I'm not entirely sure, and this video is not to brag or anything, but I'm just telling you, this is by far one of the best Epiphones I have ever played, full stop, point blank period, and I think you should try to find one and experience it for yourself, because you won't be disappointed.